having a conversation with somebody last week, and we were talking about the different avenues that one could take. You know, one is develop your own team. Second to that is outsource some of the stuff that you've been talking about. But thirdly, we were talking about insourcing as well. So going to larger corporations, and I know you've done some of this as well, and actually creating an incubator within the business where they fund you. Right now, given the uncertainty, what do you think is likely to be more of a successful win? Is it going to those larger corporations and saying, hey, we're more agile, we can come in, invest in us? Or is it going out and grafting to get an investor to invest in your business idea?
A lot of the big companies out there will have venture funds of some sort. So Lego Ventures, for example, or M&S have a venture side of things where they do invest in startups that can benefit their business one way or another, right? So if you've got something in retail, for example, a really cool bit of retail tech, maybe you're playing with the experience of post-purchase in retail. You know, I think there's an interesting space there that's not really tapped into. It's worth having conversations with the big corporates that have small funds where you can say, hey, look, this is interesting as a venture, full stop, but you can tie this straight in with what you guys are doing. And it might be a really interesting little collaboration there. What that does is it gets you a big proof of concept client out of the gates, which is amazing for a young startup. Having a big company on your decks is a huge win. But you also, you know, have the shot at getting a ticket. What I'll say is that a lot of these big companies right now with R&D are very cautious because, you know, it's a difficult time for everybody. So understanding, like you said, which ones are doing well and might have the capacity to actually explore something, then it's not a bad idea. What a lot of them will possibly want is something slightly tangible, whether it's a video, whether it's an MVP, something like that. So as sort of a first phase, whether you're faced with an option of bringing people in-house, which there are definitely benefits for, or going and collaborating with an external team, also benefits for, it's really dependent on how you want to play the game, right? If you have a restriction on the amount of money that you're playing with, bringing a team in-house is an attractive option. You'll obviously have to give away a reasonable amount of equity in your business. If you're doing it straight equity, or if it's a split between cash and equity, whatever it's going to be, you have to be willing to give away a sizable chunk. You know, you can give a CTO 5% of your business, 10% of your business, whatever it's going to be. So if that's an option for you, then that's something there. The issue with that is that having one or two people do the entire life cycle of an app isn't that easy. You know, UX, UI design, front and back end dev, if there's any machine learning or AI, like somebody with that type of skill set to be able to achieve all of those things at even a good level is unbelievably expensive, and will not be playing with a startup who just has equity to offer. You know, developers get offered huge money all the time. You know, that's one of the verticals where it's a pretty safe bet that you're going to be on six figures relatively quickly. However, if you go to a studio where they have a team of people where sort of everyone plays their role, and they'd be able to knock it out a lot quicker. You know, you can get an MVP out in 2 to 3 months, whereas if you're doing it in-house, it might take 6, 8 months, you know. It's expensive. You know, most of the time studios don't take equity, or they don't take a lot. So it's, you know, you have to have the cash to play with. So it's a real catch-22, you know, and it comes back to the strategy of, are we going to deliver something that is a little rustic but proves the value proposition, or are we going to go with something that we want to be competitive? And I think, you know, with that fundamental strategy, you can then have a game plan as to where you want to go.
So if you enjoy this content, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be creating weekly business boardroom conversations just like this.